Go ahead and get started. We're going to record tonight so that if those that may want to interested later, we can always send to them. So thank you all for being here. We're kind of focusing tonight strictly on this citation, this Rotary citation for the clubs that have interest and are wanting to get that completed. So as you know, there is only 6 people that can get in there and actually add information for that citation. That's the current president, the current secretary, the current treasurer, the executive secretary, the foundation chair, and the membership chair. And that's why I invited the group of people that I did, because those are the ones that can actually enter information on that Rotary citation. And so we're going to have a screen share between David Robinette, our behind the scenes doing IT. We want to thank him. He's been there this whole year being our IT support. And then John Vietmar, our district educator for 6060, is going to help us do the Rotary citation. And I have to say, I haven't seen Stacy on the call in a while, and I just want to say welcome, Stacy. I happen to see her name pop up here. And so a lot of you are on the call.
I would have been here earlier, but oh my gosh, my mother started talking and oh Lord.
Stacy is actually our AG coordinator, past district governor. Fantastic. So it's just good to see her. I haven't seen her on the calls for a while, but welcome to all of you. And I'm going to go ahead and let David do a screen share and start our little video off, and then we'll get started. Okay, so that was just kind of a quick review of how easily it is to do this Rotary citation. So most of the clubs, the majority of the clubs, you've probably accomplished all of them. You just got to get that information documented into Rotary Club Central. So the first thing we're going to start off with, you have to have a My Rotary account. And so David Robinette is going to put up the information. He's going to go over about how you can enter and make sure you have a My Rotary account.
So the first thing to do when you go to myrotary.org or Rotary, you'll see either register or sign in. I have clicked on the register. I have an account, so I'm not going to try to fill it in because frankly, we're not going to get past this page even if we do. Very simple. First name, last name, your email. Are you 18 or over? And you check the box and hit continue. At that point, you will get, it's computer generated, so it may take a few minutes. You will get an email from Rotary. Click the link that is on that email. That will then walk you through the next steps to finish creating your account. Once you have the account, you can then go into the sign in portion. I've already done that. Let's see if it still holds. And you are then into, how about that? It actually worked. Rotary doesn't like it if you sign in and just walk away for hours. So you may have to do what I just did. If you're entering stuff, I got to take a break. I got to walk away for a few minutes. You may find yourself where it looks like you're still signed in, but you're really not. You just go back in, either hit refresh, it'll bring up your login credentials, or it will keep you logged in one way or the other. You'll be there. This is the easiest way. It is the simplest way to get to it. From there, to be very honest, you can do, again, the things we've talked about before, manage the club and district administration. And if you don't watch it, you have the problem I have with the mouse, club administration, contributions, various reports, Rotary Club Central, and so on. Again, once you are in, once you've completed this and hit continue, it is simply waiting for the email from Rotary, clicking on the link that they have given you, which will be unique to you at that point, and then just completing the rest of the login steps.
Okay, so remember, there's 6 people that can enter into the citation. There's 6 of your club members that can enter into the Rotary citation if you have a foundation chair, if you have a membership chair, and if you have an executive secretary. But definitely the president, the secretary, and the treasurer, those 3 can enter. Plus you have 3 others if your club has those identified in DAC-DB. So there's 6 people that can enter. First, you got to have your My Rotary account. Once you get your My Rotary account, then you can get into Rotary Club Central. And Rotary Club Central is where you actually enter the Rotary citation. So how do you set a goal and how do you enter a project in the Rotary Club Central? So we'll go ahead and click on how to set up a goal in Rotary Club Central. Now this information was in your packet that I sent you as well, step-by-step directions of how to create a My Rotary account, because the step-by-step directions had 5 steps to complete to get into to set up a My Rotary account. And then how you're going to set up or enter a goal is there was also in your packet as well, and there was 3 steps to do that as well. Okay, so, or actually, I'm sorry, 9 steps to actually enter the goal. So we'll let David go on Rotary Club Central here. And as we're thinking about the Rotary citation, remember you have to pick 13 of the 25 goals. And most of you are already doing those. You just got to get them entered into Rotary Club Central. And so we're going to let David show the Rotary Club Central here.
All righty. Again, we're back to this page. Control the mouse better this time. So you go to Manage, Club and District Administration, and then down to Rotary Club Central.
And one thing that I did while this is loading, and one thing I did several years ago for my club, is I developed this service project form. I emailed and included in the packet. And really what I do with that is whoever is the chairperson of the particular event, I have them fill that out and then give it to the club president so they can enter this information to Rotary Club Central. That way, at that time when that event is going on, the information is fresh in your mind. Just like recently when we had the Kids Against Hunger, I made sure that I got that information together, gave it to the president so he doesn't forget to enter it. So it's just a form that might be helpful for those of you that you don't want the club president to get behind on the entry, because then it's really hard to sit there in June trying to get all this information entered, trying to remember all the hours and who was actually at each event. So I'll go ahead, David, review from this point.
Okay. It will open up to your dashboard, which gives you just some basic trends of what's going on in your club. This is my own club. I figured if we're going to pick on anybody, it'll be my own club I pick on. You can look at a variety of things from here, and you can look at what other clubs are doing, what Worldwide Rotary is doing, and so on. Specific to what we're doing right now, you want to click on Goal Center. This is going to give a variety of things. Right now, it is strictly in membership and engagement. I can click on Foundation Giving, Service, Young Leaders, Public Image, or the one that, to be very honest, I use the most is All, so I don't have to remember to switch over tabs. You want to make sure very clearly that you're in the right Rotary year. It will default to the current year. Now, at some point, I know Governor-elect Julie is going to be wanting you to put in the goals for next year, those individuals that will be doing that. That's when you would default over the 22-23, and you would pick them. You can see none of these goals are as yet entered as far as we're concerned. So I'm just going to go back to the current year. As you achieve, you will get a check mark right here. You either mark it in on your own, or in some cases, like with the foundation, Rotary will mark it in for you. We had for our membership, we had a goal of 21. We actually inducted our 21st member today. So we are at goal on that. Service participation, new member. You notice I didn't put anything in for district conference. That doesn't mean that we will not be there at district conference, but we haven't had it yet. So it's awful hard to tell how many people have been there when it wasn't there. But what we can do, I'm going to go into edit for a moment, and I'm going to go down to district conference. It is now the end of April. Margie's going to breathe a sigh of relief because the conference was a huge success and it's over. And I can put in, instead of, we planned on 4, we really had 8 there. I will delete this. I'm not that stupid. But I then go up and hit save. That is going to change to an 8. And that 8 will then show, once we're done, it will show this check mark that was completed. Yes, I do not want to save changes. You can do this for every goal that you have set up. One thing I will show you, and then if foundation chair Linda has anything, she can kick in too. You cannot edit some of this information. The number from Rotary, this number is what Rotary marks down. We don't enter that number in there. You'll notice I hit edit, but I can't do anything with that number. That is what Rotary shows that we have collected, shows for Polio Plus. Now, the benefactors and such, I didn't say this as a goal, but I could go back in later. I want to select that. Once I select it, I can now go in and say, we want to have 1 benefactor. I would then go up and hit save. And that's now going to show as 1. However, we don't have anybody yet, so it's not going to show the achieved simply because this number is not the same as or greater than what the goal is. And again, I'm going to back out because I don't want to save it. Margie, I don't know how far you would like me to go, so I can either keep going or you can toss it over to John.
Yeah,
okay.
We're going to toss it over to John. So if they have access to you, if you have access to that actual Rotary citation form that was in the packet, we're going to kind of go over each one of those goals, and that we're going to kind of talk through them. We're going to have our district educator, John Vietmar, kind of review them and just kind of give you ideas of what each one of them are. And if you have any questions along the way, we can answer them for you. So I'll turn it over to John Vietmar.
Okay. I think I'm gonna, wow, I don't know if I'm sharing or not. Did that share?
No.
Nope.
Doggone it. There's certain things, Dave, I did not set up.
Well, we can do, give me just a sec.
I want to do this one and share.
So while they're putting this up, just remember, this would be a great opportunity for you to go back to clubs. And if you have a particular meeting that you don't have a speaker potentially, this would be a great way to sit down and talk about this. It would have been probably preferred earlier in the year, but you can still sit down and still talk about it. So the idea is that you want to make sure the information you have is things that you've been doing and things that you've achieved over this past year. But like I said, the majority of it you've already got accomplished. It's just a matter of just getting the information entered into the system, and check in with your club members, and maybe they're doing things that you didn't know about. They could have attended different events that maybe you're not familiar that they actually attended.
All right, so Dave, let's click on the all goals, and we'll just go down the list. It's like a little bit of what you have already mentioned, but what we're talking about is, I like to consider this as the club's action plan, because it's all laid out for you. You don't have to recreate the wheel. And when you're talking about, like, the first thing down there, club membership, do you have a goal? How many members do you want to get in? And you can talk about it at your club, which is a wonderful thing, and you should, but enter the goal. So the goal here we see is 21. And then Dave already mentioned that they just inducted their 21st member. Well, if you didn't enter a goal, it's kind of counterproductive. You want to have something to work towards as a club. We're talking about this late in the year so that people understand that you have to update your goals. Now is not necessarily the time to set your goals after you find out that you're doing a good job. You should have had something to strive for in the beginning. So let's look at service participation, and the goal is 7. And then if you look at the history, it's like how many members participated in various activities. And that's where, you enter that, as you work. But in a club like ours, and I see Josh is on here and Joe, we've got 110 members, and we look at a sizable project and say, well, gee, we'd like to have 75 members participate. Well, you got to pay attention. You got to work with your committee and find out how many people did participate and so on and so forth. And that's where you get that goal of service participation on your activities. New member sponsorship, that's another one. We talk about it all the time. How many members are going to sponsor a new member? And you can set the goal low if you want, and that's fine as long as you're working towards it. But the key is you need to go back and update the progress towards that goal. And Dave showed you how to do that. You go back, you edit, you update that number. There are certain things you can't update because it's system generated, and those are generally foundation goals. We can't record the money. Once the money gets to the foundation, they'll come back and tell us what we did.
In the spirit of full disclosure, this will stay because we have had 2 new members this year. We had 2 different sponsors for them. So when I entered the member today, I neglected to change the new member sponsor. So sometimes they are linked and you don't even realize it.
Okay. Excellent. Rotary Action Group participation. If you're not familiar with the Rotary Action Groups, that's a whole different subject. You really need to look into it. It's probably in here as a resource, but Rotary Action Groups are things like the water and sanitation group. That's a Rotary Action Group. That's the only one that comes to my mind because I see it constantly coming across. But there's several Rotary Action Groups. Your members would join that action group. So here's the key. You got to be in touch with your members. You got to know which members have joined an action group. So again, you get into the situation where you're talking to your club members and saying, look, here's our goals and these are the things we want to track. Have any of you joined an action group? Have any of you joined a fellowship? And I'll speak for my club. I've joined the Past District Governor Fellowship or the Fellowship of Past District Governors, whatever you want to go. So it's a freebie for my club. But if any of the other members have joined fellowships, I mean, there's a camping fellowship, a wine drinking, there's all kinds of fellowships, but nobody's going to know who joins unless you ask your members. So that's it for action groups. Then we get down to leadership development participation. How many members will participate in leadership development programs or activities during the year? Boy, that's a wild card. That's for your club to know what's available and how many members are going to it. So if and when we get back to an active RLI program, Rotary Leadership Institute, if you have a member that has went to RLI, then that would work. We're starting a new thing. I'm starting something with Margie with her help of a leadership development series where we go and look at a particular training course and then come back and report back on it. That could be one if you monitor it and work on it. So this is an easy one, but you just have to collect the data from your club members. Dave's already mentioned the district conference attendance. You take poll. I mean, gee whiz, if your club pays for the registration for the attendance, that's a real easy way. If you've paid for 4, 5, 6, 10 members, then you know what the number is. If your club is not doing that, then you just have to, again, you got to stay in touch with your members to know what they're doing. And then you have to manually go in. This club said they're going to have 4 come conference time. They'll know how many people are registered and they have to enter it, and you can do it all after the fact, but you want to stay in touch with your membership. Here's the Rotary Fellowship participation. If you haven't looked at the Rotary Fellowship opportunities, please do. I mean, there is just tons and tons of them. Where's Tom Drennan? He was on here earlier. Is there a fellowship for bike riding, Tom?
Yes, there is. There's a,
So,
there is also, I'm a board member of the Rotary Action Group about diabetes, and I'm a board member of the Rotary Fellowship of Cyclists.
Yep.
So,
so there's the Overland Club. Without knowing that Tom is a member of these fellowships and action groups, you wouldn't be able to tally it up. So you just got to work with your members and make sure you know what they're doing. District training participation. Our district did in fact have a spring leadership assembly. So that would be a training assembly. We are going to have a technology seminar coming up in April. So there's 2 opportunities. There's a lot of different wording for this, and it calls it a district training assembly. It's a standard, okay? And we need to make sure that we communicate from the district out so that everybody understands if you're going to this particular training, take credit for it. And this is a place to take credit for it, district training participation. So if you know you have members, again, I guess we're looking at Overland, right, Dave? So they had a goal of 3, they got an achievement of 6 already, and it could go better than that. So, take advantage of that. Take advantage of that. Moving on to the foundation annual fund contributions. Again, that's generated within the system, your goal, and then what you achieve. If you turn your funds into the foundation late in the Rotary year, you have to keep track of it, keep an eye on it. You may be a contender for a citation, and you might not know until, till July when it happens, if that number hits. And I know there are clubs that, turn their foundation money in at the tail end of the year because they've collected it with dues and things of that sort. So that one's self-generated, just keep an eye on it. Polio Plus the same way, if it's turned in. And the advantage of this is if you have members that use Rotary Direct, it's automatically tallied up. So that's a good thing. Encourage Rotary Direct with your membership, and you can keep a closer eye on your contributions. Major gifts, that's going to be the same way. Major gifts, bequests, and benefactors. You got to work with your club and express to those members that there are ways to become benefactors to Rotary by modifying your will and your trust and whatever have you in your financial means. And you set that up. You don't set that up with the club. You don't set up with the district. You set it up straight with the RI representatives. That's a lot of confidential information there, but we do get the feedback as a district to know that we have a benefactor and things of that sort. So,
Hey, John, here's a couple of questions for you that's
Okay.
come up here. Let's go back to the leadership development participation. What about the Zoom meetings that we've had for presidents, president-elects, the foundation Zoom meetings, the membership Zoom meetings, Show Me Rotary virtual that we had, that we had last year? Well, I guess that would be out of the Rotary year. And what about DAC-DB trainings?
wow. It might be a wild card. I don't know that it would violate any any part of the 4-way test. I mean, leadership development, if we have a Zoom call and we're trying to educate folks on DAC-DB or Rotary Club Central or anything, as long as you really tie in the leadership portion, I think that's the key. We're trying to represent ourselves as leaders within the total Rotary organization. So if we feel as those meetings, assistant governor meetings, those are definitely training meetings, more than just a coordination. I think if we're going to do it, Margie, we would want to make sure that it's beyond let's get together and catch up with what's going on.
Okay.
You got to have some real meat to say that this is definitely a leadership development program. And those were the 2 things that I mentioned were Rotary Leadership Institute, which is definitely an identified way. And then slowly but surely, we're working in other ways that are less formal, but nevertheless identify it as a leadership program, a leadership development series that we're working on now. And then if you in the future, maybe we want to identify, that's a good question between Margie and Julie. If we want to identify some of these activities throughout the year as definite leadership development participation, then it would be good for us to get that information back out to the clubs so they know if they participate, take credit for it, and put it in their goals and make use of that towards their Rotary citation. Good questions, though.
Okay. And then
Good
Linda
question.
Poobauer has a
Dawn.
question.
Yes.
Julie?
Okay, I raised my hand back when you were talking about foundation. When it gets down to the end of the year, you would need to do your foundation donations online or overnight your check in order for it to get processed before June 30th, which is the end of the Rotary year. Those two options, because if you mail your check on June 30th to Rotary International, it's not going to post
Right.
on the current year. So
Right.
if you want it to get credited for the current Rotary year that we're on, those are your two options.
Thank you. That's very true. That's very true. And if you get it mailed and wired to them, you got to remember the fact that it takes them a while to process everything. So yes, you can get it to them, and then it still may be a certain period of time before it ends up in the record. So automatically on July 1, we don't necessarily know who all of the clubs are that have earned a citation. It might take a little bit of time in between there. So.
Julie, you had a question as well?
Just for clarification, John, there's no ambiguity in giving a club credit for attendance at Show Me Rotary, though.
I wouldn't
If
think
you
so.
have club
Yeah,
members or your PE or your PN attend Show Me Rotary, that definitely should be credited within the citation.
Excellent. That's a good point, Julie. Thank you. There again, if you set a goal for 2 in leadership development and you're working with your PE and your PN to go to Show Me, bam, you got it. And if your club's lucky enough to have an assistant governor, bam, you got it. And if your club is lucky enough to have some member of the Show Me Rotary Council, wow. So very good. Thanks, Julie. That's a wonderful thing, because every club should have, every club ideally would have at least 2 in leadership development. So very good. Very good. Thank you. Go ahead,
And
Dave.
if you have a district governor in your club, boy, you have some leadership development then.
You got leadership development coming out the ears. That's exactly right. You do. And see, that's why, when we talk about it, you can think about it in a perspective of your club, but you have to really drill down into the perspective of your club members, because your club members are the ones you're reporting on. You're not reporting on the club. I mean, leadership development is all about membership, not the club itself. So,
okay. Any other questions as we're moving on here? I was trying to look here across the way. I didn't see anybody else with questions. So, okay.
Okay, Dave, scroll down to wherever we were. Rotaract clubs. The goal, how many Rotary, click on that, Dave. So it says, how many new and existing Rotaract clubs will your club sponsor during the Rotary year? Okay, so there is a disclaimer. It says new and existing. So if your club has a Rotaract club, you can claim it because it's existing. If you have aspirations of getting another Rotaract club, or maybe you don't have any, then you would put a goal in there for that. So please, if you have a Rotaract club, put a goal in there, select a goal. It's a existing Rotaract club, so stick a 1 in there. And I think Interact's going to be the same way. New and existing. Does it say that? Yeah, new and existing Interact clubs. So if you don't have an Interact club and you're looking to get one, put a goal in there of one. Hey, the other thing about goals is I don't recall any place in the bylaws where there are Rotary police. If you put a goal in that you're going to have a new Interact club and you don't get it, so you don't get it. That's unfortunate. But if you don't have goals for your members to work towards, you're missing the boat. So that's what this is all about, guys. If you don't have an Interact club and you're talking about getting one, stick a number in there and let your members know that you want to have this Interact club chartered before the end of the Rotary year. Inbound youth exchange students, outbound youth exchange students, that's a tricky one, and it's very club oriented. You may have the wherewithal to host families or not host families. We're talking about that within our club right now, trying to find some hosts so that we can get on board and get a student. So, selecting a goal, if you're one of those clubs that have had exchange students year after year, put a number in there. If you're a club that has never had an exchange student and you're really, really interested in it, put a number in there. But don't just put the number in there. You really got to work on this one. This one does not come easy in inbound and outbound youth exchange.
Julie, do
this,
you have another question?
So I just want to make a comment and build on what Don is talking about, because we're going to roll out at Show Me Rotary this weekend the opportunity for your president-elects to get together with your club members and begin to articulate their goals and action plan for this next year. And John reminded me a couple of weeks ago that there's nothing preventing those president-elects from sitting down with you, the current president, or the secretary, the treasurer, the foundation director, or the membership director, all of whom have the ability to actually already put goals in, from going ahead and getting that done. There used to be sort of this myth that clubs could not put goals in until they actually turned over and became the president on July 1. They can't do it independently, but if you sit down with them after they've met with their club, after they have a sense of direction and have a plan, the earlier that they complete these goals and then begin to put an action plan in support of each one of these goals, the more energized your club is going to be. So we're going to try to tee that up this weekend. And I really, really appreciate all you presidents supporting your president-elects and being willing to sit down and coach them in working in Rotary Club Central, not at the end of their term, but at the beginning, so that they can do this on an ongoing basis. So thanks. I appreciate having the opportunity to
That's
say
a good
that.
point. And I'd like to just extend that just a little bit. It's now the time of year to do just precisely what Julie said. Now let's fast forward 3 or 4 months and you get into July and August, and now you're the leader of your club and you're trying to get these goals put in and you're having a difficult time. Please humble yourself and ask for help. I remember when I was governor working with clubs, and one of the responses was, John, I've been trying to do that for 3 months and I've never been able to get in. Just ask. We're here to help. The governor line can certainly help you get those goals in. I know the governor can help put goals in. There's no question about that. Your assistant governors have the ability to help you get goals in. So it's a joint project. Everybody wants success. And, there's one of these myths that say, oh, sure, you just want the clubs to put the goals in so the governor looks good. Forget about it, folks. It's not about the governor. It's about your club being successful. It's back to setting an action plan for your club, and the best subscribe way to do it. I mean, this organization's been around a while, right? Go to the goal center, pick out the things you want to do, communicate with your club members all year long, note your achievements and come out a winner. So let's go on down the line. Good point, Julie. Thanks very much. RILA participation, same way. You may have a club that sends a couple kids to RILA every year. Wonderful. Put your number in there, and when they go, plug in the result. Strategic plan. Does your club have a strategic plan up to date? Well, I've just given you a real good prescription for a good strategic plan. Set your goals, announce your goals to your club, document it with your board, and say, this is our strategic plan, folks. These are the things that we're going to do. I mean, that's a real bare bones way of getting about it, but you can have a strategic plan. Online presence. Gee whiz, that gets easier and easier, I guess, all the time with Facebook and our websites and things of that sort. But do you update it? And that's the question. Does your club's online presence accurately reflect its current activities? And when you pull up a website that shows a list of activities from 2020, don't say that you're up to date, folks. It's got to be up to date. And that's the key there. It's just again, it's a goal, but you have to communicate it with your members so that you make sure everybody's working together to get the job done. Social activities. Our club always gets an A on this because you have to have meetings, that's for sure, but you also want to have some social activities throughout the year. You want to play golf, you want to have a installation banquet, you want to have a Christmas party, whatever it is you want to do, but take credit for it. If you're going to have 2 or 3 activities, mark them down. But then don't forget, you got to go back and update the sheet. Update website and social media. I think we just pretty much talked about that. Is everything up to date? Media stories about club projects. Wonderful way. Get it in the paper. We know that, and I know, I guess through incoming Governor Julie, that incoming President Jennifer Jones would like more media presence. And when we're doing things, she says, make a phone call, get the media there and get some coverage, folks. So, I mean, we're getting a little boost from the very top on that one. Official Rotary promotional materials. If you're going to get a banner made for an event, please go to the, what's it called? Darn it.
Brand Center.
Brand Center.
Please go to Brand Center and do it right. And every club struggles with this. I'm sorry. You get tied up in the way things you've been doing it. You go to your printer and say, gee, make us a new banner. And when the banner comes out, it's the old wheel from 8 years ago, and it doesn't meet the current standard. So please use Brand Center to make sure that we're representing Rotary International in the correct manner. Are we at the end of the line, Dave?
We are.
Margie, what did I say wrong? We talked about this. And I said, well, if I say it wrong, you need to correct me. But
But one thing I want to add about the Rotary promotional material, if you have a question and you're not sure, Jill Rogers is our public image, and she'll be happy to review whatever content you're preparing and give you suggestions or help with that. I know I have forwarded her some things that different clubs have forwarded me this past year, and she's great about connecting you with the Brand Center and helping you out, getting that going in the right direction. So otherwise, does anyone have any questions about the Rotary Citation? I know there was a question about, is this upcoming year 2022, 2023 going to be the same? And I know Julie put in that she's under the impression that's the way it's going to be. I know whenever this one rolled out 2 years ago, they were trying to kind of keep this going because they kind of like this format about allowing the clubs to pick their goals that they wanted to achieve and doing like just 13 of the 25 goals. So did anyone have any questions about the citation before we go further in? No? Okay.
I'd just like to make a generic comment that most of the club specific aspirations that you might have to grow your club, energize your club, whatever specific things that are unique to your club most of those kinds of initiatives fit within a goal area. So kind of connect the dots here to give yourself credit for the citation. If you're doing a membership development initiative, this is the ultimate, the citation gives you credit for membership development. The action plan is really all the work that you're doing to create that result. The same with service projects and all kinds of things that your club might want to do uniquely.
Exactly. That's very good. And remember, don't forget all those pancake breakfasts, those chili events I've seen. You've got the after hours, and there's just been tons of activities I've seen different clubs hosting. So make sure you Kids Against Hunger that we recently did the service project that we had over almost 100 Rotarians there. So that's another big project that we had. So your clubs had that participation. There's a lot of great opportunities out there to get this Rotary citation put together. And it's a great thing to put it in the newspaper, on your social media. You might even attract some new members by being a part of that. And because they'll wonder, well, how did you get this citation? It's because you're active and vibrant club and you're trying to do things in the community, and they'll want to be a part of your club. So that was kind of one of the things we wanted to kind of get rolling here, is to get some of you more interested in getting this Rotary citation completed. Okay, so if there's no questions, we'll move on to finish up the agenda here. And as we've talked about the district conference, I know that all of you are planning on coming, and you're bringing all your friends, your family, your neighbors, and anybody else you don't know you're going to bring along on the street. So it's April 22nd at the Villa Antonia Winery. We've got 2 dynamic speakers. We got Andrew Oberly, who's from SLU. He's was in Africa and got mauled by the monkeys, and he talks about how he's had to physically get rebuilded. The monkeys had chewed off his fingers and toes and parts of his body, and he's really had a lengthy rehab process. And then we have Kelly Hager, who's an outstanding speaker as well. She's from the local area, and she actually has spoke with Microsoft. She was a multimillionaire real estate agent, and then had a traumatic incident and had to basically relearn how to basically walk and live life again. So they have both got some great inspirational presentations, as well as we're going to have an AED station, an automatic external defibrillator station. A lot of you with these health awareness grants have had the opportunity to receive funding for those. So we're going to kind of instruct, review, and kind of show you how to use those. We're going to do that on site. And also we've got a couple of them that's going to come in and talk about their health awareness grants just for a minute or two to tell us what they actually did, and share a little bit about that, how that process worked in their community and with their clubs. So that's an exciting part. And we've got a few other icebreaker things that we're going to do. So we hope you'll come out. The event's $35. You just go to www.rotary6060.org and you can register. And like I said, there's a place for you to register as a Rotarian, and there's also a place for guests or anybody else that you would like to bring. So you don't have to be a Rotarian to actually be, attend. And so we're hoping to get some non-Rotarians, because maybe by next year they'll become Rotarians. So that's the plan. So we look forward to seeing you all at the district conference as well. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was Ukraine. I put this in your packet, but John Germ sent out this information about if you wanted to donate to help out Ukraine. There's a place on the email that he sent that you can just donate there. Obviously they need our financial support, probably a long ways to go there with all of that, but just keep them in your thoughts and prayers as you move forward over these next months, and potentially months and probably a year ahead, as we don't know what's going to unfold there. So we want to make sure that we're thinking about them and showing our support any way that we can. So does anybody have any questions at all about the citation, about the conference, about the Ukraine? Show Me Rotaries this weekend. The next time we're going to meet on Zoom will be April the 19th. Is there any questions that anybody would have at all before we're at our 45 minutes? So I don't want to take any more of your evening time up. And I see that Sullivan did put in the chat, Jarrett put in the chat that on April the 5th, looks like he's inviting every single one of us to lunch. So he's going to have a big lunch bill. Their club is celebrating 75 years. And actually on April the 2nd, but they're going to do it on April the 5th. He says lunch is free. So he says he does need a head count. So we should all show up just so we can charge that to him and get our free lunch, and let him know how much we appreciate that and be supportive of there. So I'll make sure and check my schedule as well. Kind of exciting this year. We've got a couple of clubs that's got some very keynote years. Union has got their 65th anniversary coming up. Now she's not inviting us all to her lunch, but there's hers is 65. And I believe Overland's going to be having their celebration of, I believe it's 75 as well. So we've got a couple of clubs that's got some big celebrations, as well as we had Jackson Rotary Club became 100% Paul Harris in our last newsletter, and this upcoming newsletter, Forest Park, 100% Paul Harris Club. So that information will be coming out in the newsletter. So a lot of exciting things going on. So
Hey, Margie.
Julie, do you have something else you want to add? Yes.
Margie, I see that Wendy's on here. So we might as well put her to the test and see if the invite's open to come out to Union for their anniversary. What do you say, Wendy?
Sure, I was just getting ready to type that. So yes, just like Jared, please let me know.
Okay. Oh my.
Margie, most of the folks on here today are current presidents, and I want to just encourage you to encourage your president-elect and your president nominee as they're going to Show Me Rotary. One of the realities of this year's Show Me Rotary is we only have 23 out of 51 of our president-elects that are actually going. All but 6 clubs are sending someone to Show Me Rotary, but we have a lot of president-elects who are not going to be the beneficiaries directly of the content at Show Me Rotary, which is going to mean that their current presidents are going to have to pitch in and really assist the district in helping some of those presidents really prepare for the year. We are going to have a virtual meeting, which we hope most of those president-elects, and if you encourage them, I know it will make all the difference in the world. On April 12th at 5 p.m., we have a virtual follow-up from Show Me Rotary. Feel free to have the other emerging leaders and others that are supporting your president-elect, but it's really important that your president-elect gets hold of this leadership opportunity well in advance. And so whatever you can do to really help those president-elects get on board, and please let us know how we can help them. So Show Me Rotary this weekend, April 12th, and then June 23rd, we're meeting virtually again with those president-elects. They should have all those dates, but it takes a while for people to sort of get on the bandwagon with this opportunity that they have to lead their club. So anything you can do to really encourage those president-elects. I'm excited. We're going to have almost 70 people from the district actually participate in Show Me Rotary. We're going to have a great group. It's just a lot of the president-elects are not able to come personally. And so we're going to have to fill in some gaps. So thank you in advance for your help and encouragement and inspiration, inspire the forward momentum that we've been able to establish this year in the district. So
Thanks so much,
Margie.
Julie. Yeah, thanks so much. Well, thanks, David Robinette, for doing the behind the scenes IT again. John Vietmark, the district educator, for all that you do for the district and all your information that you provide, and countless hours of behind the scenes practicing and scripting and getting everything together to make it all work out well, and recording and being able to accomplish that. So thanks to all of you. I appreciate your time. Have a great evening. Enjoy your weekend. It's going to be, I think, a nice weekend. The rain's about over. So thank you very much again. I really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email or call any one of us. We'd be happy to help you. Take care.